But they do have some wonderful pizzas, and a lot of people haven't tried their dessert pizzas. In
A
fact,
dessert pizza.
I was not, when they first opened, I saw people eating something, and I actually went and asked them. I said, "What is that?"
What is that?
So we went and ordered, and it was just outstanding. So they have a fabulous dessert pizza.
They have a dessert pizza? Oh, drop whatever you're doing. Like, go try out this dessert pizza. That does sound very delicious.
So I actually spent several hours down at the library. I went down to the Idaho room.
Yeah.
And a lady came in and helped me because I knew it was a Kringle hardware. That's all I knew, that it was an old Kringle hardware. I kept hearing Kringle.
What's Kringle hardware?
It was the name of the family that originally had that space since...
All right. We are rolling, but, I always need something, too, to drink. It's like an operation to get this whole thing
I bet.
Up and running. So, because basically now I have that camera running, and then I have a camera on you, and then I have this running as well. And
it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's. I actually even had a third camera, so I had like 3 cameras pointing at us, and yeah, it was definitely an operation to just get that. And then it would actually make my life a little bit more difficult because then I would have to edit that camera, and that camera. So then I was like, maybe we don't really need this camera here,
right? Two's good.
2 is good enough. All right, I think everything is rolling. I'm in focus. You're in focus. I hate when I'm out of focus. And then it just looked blurry on the video itself. It's like, no, this is killing the video. But a lot of times I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to roll out the information because it's got such good information, basically. All right. So let's get this rolling. So I usually just say like, welcome to another podcast. I think this is like podcast number 18. I think. I'm not 100% sure. I think the playlist said I had 17. I don't know, somewhere around here.
That's great. Good for you.
I have Lisa here. And Lisa, I guess maybe let's start off with who are you? I guess for the people that don't know who you are, I guess maybe can you give us kind of like a little summary of who are they about to like watch?
Sure. Lisa Buddecke, and we've been in Twin Falls since 1994.
1994?
1994 we moved here.
Where did you move from?
From Orange County, California.
Oh, okay.
My husband's business at the time where he worked moved from Glendale to Twin Falls. And so over the years, we both have transitioned. I spent about 18 years in economic development for Southern Idaho Economic Development. And I was a marketing consultant, and then I did some marketing consulting after that for some other economic development regions in the state. And then we had a wonderful family trip. It was probably 5 years ago. We went to Denver, and we went and saw a concert. And while we were there, my husband was looking for something, and for cupcakes for some groups that were coming, and we needed cupcakes. So we stayed behind, myself and our 2 girls, and he wandered off looking for cupcakes. And he had his phone, and he's looking around, and all of a sudden he gets to this big building, and he's thinking, well, I don't know, how am I going to get cupcakes? So anyway, he walked in, and he ended up being at Denver Central Market.
Oh, okay.
And that was his first experience at a food hall.
Oh, okay.
And you walk in, and there were numerous vendors within. There was a bakery, there was a bar, there was Italian, there was salads, there was, they had the TV on, and he ended up watching some golf and people walking in and out. They had a florist, they had...
Did you lose him there? Like
pretty much,
like,
yes.
He just moved in there afterwards, and then you're like, where's he at?
He was gone for quite a while, actually, and we were thinking, well, he's, walking around and enjoying
Trying to find these cupcakes.
Exactly. So he came back literally a few hours later, and he had cupcakes. He goes, you guys are not going to believe what I ran into today. So he encouraged us to go the next day. He took the three of us and we went, and he says, "You guys have got to see this." So we walked in and we were equally in awe of this
It's like a
experience.
magical place. It's almost like
Yes.
Disneyland, you know?
Yes, we had never seen anything like it, to have all these different vendors all under a single roof.
Yeah, yeah.
And a TV was on, so we sat down, had some wine, and the girls had a beer, and we, had an appetizer, and we walked around, and we were just in awe about it. And so what happened at that point is that Dave said, "You know what?" When we came home, he said, "I would love to see this in Twin Falls." And I said, "Wow, okay."
Yeah, you're like, okay.
All right, and he's an entrepreneur, and so I just thought this is another, statement in his life of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, being an entrepreneur, you always have these ideas. The thing where it gets a little bit complicated is actually like fully committing and putting a bunch of money into it and things like that. So,
Exactly.
I have like 10 different ideas in motion at all times, I feel like.
And he does too. And so I thought, well, it's just another idea and a thought. And so anyway, I think a couple of years went on, and I didn't realize this at the time, but he was kind of keeping his eyes on some properties in Twin Falls to see where that might be a good fit.
Yeah.
And he ended up looking at one location, and I didn't know this until later. And then finally he noticed that this Salvation Army
Yeah,
was,
I used to go to the Salvation Army all the time. I do this thing where I go like thrifting, where I go try to find something and I flip it, or I'll find something and then try to just use it. Actually, you won't believe like a lot of stuff in this like this set right here, that plant behind you, bam, thrift store, so I got like thrift store decor all over here, and it doesn't even look like it. People would never notice. It would look like I actually went and bought it at some kind of fancy store or something like that. But like the majority of stuff down here, just thrift stores. So yeah, so I'm very familiar with that building.
yeah, so you remember they had the low white ceilings.
Yeah.
And just really brick wall all along. And then they had that outside, they called it the yard.
Oh yeah,
because
they put everything out there. Like
just
that was
junk.
junk. It was crazy. I would kind of it's like rummaging through junk basically. And you're like, what is here? You know?
Just old wood and just junk. It was just sort of a kind of a catch-all place and
Yeah, yeah.
kind of a junkyard for them.
Yeah.
So he ended up walking in there, and then he came home and said, "You know what? I think I found the spot to develop our first food hall."
I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah, it was, and it really was, because it was all on a single level and had indoors and outdoors, which
Yeah.
is very unusual that you would get that
Both.
outdoor space, which is even larger than the inside.
Oh.
And so he just thought this would be ideal, and so he worked with the real estate folks. That was the guys that were selling it, had to go through corporate at Salvation Army.
Yeah.
And we looked around at first when we went down there before we bought it. We're looking around, and there's a little upstairs area, and he was peeking through and noticed that there were some beautiful wood ceilings, but it was hard to tell because, we were just peeking through a little hole, and they looked very dark and so forth. And we thought, well, let's see what happens. So anyway, when we made the purchase, we decided to really jump in on this thing. It was pretty significant, right? You're starting a whole new business.
Yeah.
It was really the first in the state. There was none at the time.
Yeah.
A food hall in Idaho. And so we started talking to people, and they thought we were crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Usually with any idea, the people are like hesitant because any entrepreneur idea is almost kind of like a risk.
Definitely.
And it's kind of like, ooh, it's like it's much safer to just be like, no, or like, let's just keep doing stuff. But like, you guys definitely took a risk on this. Yeah.
Definitely.
So keep going.
Yeah, definitely. So we went forward. We purchased the building, and we started. We had Creative Carpentry was our contractor. Fabulous group, and these guys had never done a commercial project before.
Oh, okay.
But we had trusted them. We worked with them for years on just some things at our house and bathrooms, and they were really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So they jumped in, and we really didn't know what we were doing. We just thought, okay, we got to start demoing. We got to start pulling out this low white ceiling. And of course, we saved everything and donated it. We tried to save everything and keep it going. So anyway, we started pulling things down, and we saw that ceiling up above, and we thought, oh my gosh, it goes way up, these beautiful trusses. it was fantastic. And
Yeah.
we ended up going to, we did sort of a trip ourselves. We went to, I think over the process of about a year, we went to 17 or I guess 15 food halls around the country. We wanted to visit food halls that were similar in our size
Yeah.
to kind of learn best practices,
Yeah,
see
yeah.
what they're like. Let's not reinvent the wheel. These other people have
Yeah.
done this. They've been there. We did make some appointments. Some people were willing to talk to us. Others weren't.
Yeah, I know. I've run into that problem too sometimes. And you're like, sometimes people are just like, nah,
Yeah.
you figure it out all by yourself.
Exactly.
And it's like, but I'm just asking you for basic information. Like,
Right, and we're not competing with you. You're in
Yeah.
you're in
You're in a
Atlanta.
whole nother
Yeah,
state.
you're in North Carolina. We went to Oregon. And anyway, so while it was really fun because while we were there, our contractors took a picture of the ceiling, and they had uncovered all the very upper part of the ceiling had windows that we weren't aware were there. They had all been covered up probably since we think probably since the late 60s, early 70s. They probably covered up that ceiling with those low white ceilings, we're guessing, somewhere around the 50s or 60s.
Gotcha. So during this process, did you learn anything about the building's history, what it used to be, or anything like that?
So, yes, thanks for asking. That's a really good question. When we first purchased the building, we just thought we're getting into
Salvation Army
we're
building.
getting into a building, and we've got an outdoors, and we got a lot of cleaning, and
Yeah,
we gotta
gotta
figure
like,
this out, right?
We gotta like rebuild the building, like essentially, because like, even myself, I didn't think that building that had that much potential.
I
You know what I
think
mean?
a lot of
Like
people did.
nobody. What's crazy? It's kind of like people are underestimating buildings, and you guys basically showed like a perfect example. Like, look at this building that you underestimated, and look what we've done with it. So it just blew my mind. Even when I go in there, because I've been very familiar with that building, I don't recognize it. I'm like, when I come in, it's like modern, all updated, and so forth. So it's really. It's like I have a very hard time kind of like envisioning it being a Salvation Army or anything like that. But what did you learn about that history? I keep getting off tangent here.
That's okay. So it was very interesting. We were visiting with Dan Berzee because we were going to work with him with all of our HVAC and heating and air conditioning. And we brought him in early so that he could kind of see what was there. And he just happened to mention, he says, this building has a lot of history. And I said, oh, and he started talking. And so I thought, wow. So I actually spent several hours down at the library. I went down to the Idaho room.
Yeah.
And a lady came in and helped me because I knew it was a Kringle hardware. That's all I knew, that it was an old Kringle hardware. I kept hearing Kringle.
What's Kringle hardware?
It was the name of the family that originally had that space since 1907. They had built a wood structure where we are now in 1907, and it was a blacksmith, boilermaker, machine company.
Oh, no.
And then in the back, they had a repair yard for steam engines.
Oh, wow.
So that was in 1907. So anyway, I went to the library, and the lady was very helpful. We found pictures. I was shocked. I didn't know all of this.
You had pictures of it as well?
She had pictures in the archives, and so I took pictures with my phone, and I mean, it was just like I hit
You
the
got to
jackpot.
send me those photos. I'll include it in this.
They're wonderful. They're on our website, too.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
All right, I'll throw them in.
There you go.
I'll throw them in as you're talking about it right now.
Yeah, so we have a history section on our website because there really is a lot of history. So anyway, I got that history, and I came back to Dave and I said, you know what, this building is incredible. We have no idea. We're just learning about it. So then we started pulling out the ceilings and all of that. And then we realized, you know what, with all this history of this building, and it started to expand. In fact, Dan mentioned for me to call one of the sons of the former owner of the hardware store that bought it in 1972.
Oh,
It stayed Kringle until Salvation Army purchased it in 92. So it was Kringle Hardware, Kringle.
Yeah.
But then it became just an Ace Hardware. By then it wasn't, obviously they weren't doing machining and blacksmithing.
Yeah.
But so I ended up visiting with one of the sons, and he says, I have boxes of stuff that we've been keeping, and I'll give it to you if you promise to display it. And I thought, okay. So then it ended up, where I'd had that whole wall. Now when you walk in, I turned it into basically a kind of a history wall. As you walk in, it takes you from 1907 to 2020.
Oh, I never even noticed that. I just fly in, get
No,
some food, and
you
it's
need to
like,
stop and look at all the cool stuff.
yeah, it's, geez, I'm such a bad person. I'm just flying in, gonna get my food, and then there's all that history right there.
It's wonderful, and we found old whiskey bottles under there was an area by the Smoky Bone from the Prohibition where they had been storing whiskey bottles, and they would come in the back door and get whiskey and drink, and then they would leave. So there, we found some old whiskey bottles. The son actually gave me some to display. He gave me some other items. I just gathered everything that I could find. And so we ended up turning it into a history wall so that people could understand that there was a lot more to this building than just another building.
Yeah, this is like a perfect example of how to use an old building and transform it into something modern and something that people can actually really use on a daily basis and so forth. So
Right, and it was important to us once we started getting into it, when we realized the history. We told the contractor, save everything, reuse everything, leave everything as natural as we can.
Yeah.
And so when they started tearing out the ceilings, the lower ceilings, all the wood for that, they saved all of it, and you can see it all repurposed throughout. Some of the windows, actually, we have a few pieces from 1907 still in there, just a couple of metal pieces, but the original doors and windows from 1926, they had just covered all of that up with stucco. So it was all covered up. So it was really, in good shape. Of course, it was dry and very old, but we saved everything. We reused all the wood. We reused some of the windows and doors between some of our vendors. Now you can see them displayed. And almost all the wood that you see throughout has been repurposed from the original building.
That's awesome. It's like you guys are almost like, well, obviously preserving the history there, and also kind of like improving it at the same time.
Exactly.
It's really cool. Now, let's talk about a little bit about the businesses that are in the in the food hall itself. So I had Matt here, so I don't know if you got a chance to see that one, but him and I talked. Matt and I used to work at Jack in the Box.
What he said when you first came to the country.
Yeah, exactly. Him and I used to work at Jack in the Box. He would eat these burgers all the time. I don't know. He would eat 5 pounds worth of burgers or something like that because he was like working out or something like that. So I know a little bit about Full Steam Express. How did you start contacting these businesses and getting, how did you make a decision? I'm like, okay, this is what I think should be in the food hall itself.
Yeah, so that was actually Dave's doing. He was really in charge of that, and he just had this vision. I mean, from the very beginning, he had this vision of how this was going to be, and I remember him walking me through the building and saying, I want this here, and I think this should go here, and I was just, I couldn't see it. To me, I just couldn't vision it. It was just too far out of my realm. But he knew that he wanted different opportunities for food. So he knew he wanted barbecue, and he visited with Juan Martinez over at the Smoky Bone, who was, over by the off Shoshone, that small location.
That Smoky Bone is so delicious. Like I if people have not had it, they don't know what they're missing out. What I also want to kind of talk about is like, what is your favorite thing to order from these places too? So when I go into Smoky Bones, I'm always getting the brisket.
That's really, it's one of my favorites. But I do like to switch it up with things. With
What else
they've
do you
got great salads.
what else you like over there?
They have really great tacos.
Tacos?
Yeah, they have brisket tacos.
Brisket tacos?
Yes, they're super good. They're one of my favorite. They actually have a really good salad. I get it with shrimp, and so. But let me go back real quick on the different vendors. So Dave went over and talked to Juan and said, "Hey, I've got this project going on, and would you be interested?" And within a day, Juan said, "I'm in." So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was, yeah. So
Yeah.
he says I'm in because he needed a lot bigger space. The parking was good. He just thought it was a great concept, and everybody was taking a risk, obviously, because this has never been done before. And so anyway, he was really our anchor tenant at the beginning. So then he went out and sought, pizza. He knew he wanted pizza. He knew coffee would be a good opportunity. He wanted some ice cream, so we reached out to Cloverleaf, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
said we're in because they never really could. They had some random opportunities in Twin Falls, but they never had a really good
Oh
place
yeah,
to have
it's
their.
like the perfect
It's
spot for them to be at
amazing.
as well. It's like obviously they've got the main one in
In Buell?
Buell, and it was crazy. I tried out all of their flavors once. Yeah, they gave me all of the flavors, and then I tried them all out. And you know what? My favorite came out to be the strawberry. You know,
Really? Okay.
I tried every flavor out, and then I was like, I'm just a strawberry guy, basically. So who would have thought?
It's so
But there,
good.
it's the best strawberry ice cream that I've had. I can tell you that. Everything is good, but their strawberry for some reason just like tops everything out
Well,
for some reason.
the creamery of the taste of the creamery, and they actually, I think, were just recently voted having the best ice cream in the state.
Yeah,
So
easy. And I milked one of those cows.
Oh,
They let me milk some cows, apparently. Back in the day, they were like, I got a chance to go and milk some of these cows. I always was fascinated how that works. And I remember going into there, in there, and I was like, this is so much fun. And I think the owner was there too or something. And he's like, see, Jim, he loves milking cows. And then he's like, I was kind of like making his, milker like you should be this enthusiastic about milking cows.
new opportunity for you if you ever need work, right?
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
milk
It was
cows.
so much fun
And
milking cows.
they're well treated,
Oh, yeah.
and they have free range, and they don't use hormones and things, and it's just it's excellent. So we confirmed them, and then the sushi folks reached out to us, and so Dave invited them in at the time. Then the last one was, well, of course we had the bar,
Yeah.
and then the last one was that I forgot to mention at the time was the Mexican. He has since left. He was there from January till about October. He was a small business,
Yeah.
and it was just the traffic was just more than he could do. He wasn't able to hire people that were able to
It
support
does
his-
get very busy in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes like just everybody's hungry. People need to eat. That's the bottom line. You know what I mean? And it's a great spot to just have all those options right there. It's like, I'll get a little bit of this.
Exactly.
Let me grab a little bit of ice cream as well. Maybe before I head out or something like that. Or you can even have a coffee. It's all there basically. So that way you don't have to kind of like travel around different, spaces or so forth. But going back to your favorite spots, so I'm like I said, brisket. What's your favorite ice cream that you typically like? What do you typically order for Cloverleaf Creamery?
For Cloverleaf, well, we get their milk when we can. We often forget.
Oh, yeah,
It's
I
amazing.
totally
We're
forgot.
down
They
there.
got milk,
You
too.
can buy their milk.
Yeah, they got chocolate milk and regular
milk.
milk as well, and they come in these like jugs,
Glass bottles?
glass bottles. They look really fancy. These are not your like regular milk jugs. Like you look at this, and if you have this at your refrigerator, you're like, I got some nice milk here.
Yeah, I've got some local. Exactly.
Yeah, straight from that cow, 2 blocks down or something
Exactly.
like that. That's really cool. To just even people should be definitely getting this milk. I feel
It's
like too.
delicious, and they have cream. And so I don't know. My favorite ice cream, my kind of go-to is the salted caramel.
Salted caramel,
Caramel, whatever you. But when they have the seasonal ice creams, I go with those. They're pumpkin right now. Well, I don't know if they're still having pumpkin actually because it's December, but that was just amazing. They do have some seasonal ice creams, and so I try and get those because I know the standbys are going to be always there. But
Yeah.
when they have those special opportunities to have some new flavors there, they're worth trying.
Yeah. And did they have any other stuff like cheese? I think they had.
No, they don't sell their cheese. They don't have cheese. They don't make cheese. They
I
have.
could have swore they had some other stuff there.
No.
I forgot. I'm trying to like visualize a video that because I shot like a few videos, um, but it was just all of their products that they're typically selling and so forth. Yeah, but again, the best ice cream, hands down, probably, easy peasy. What do you like to order? And I like hearing this from you because that way when people go in, they kind of have an idea like, okay, well, Arnell says the strawberry is good, and then
Salted caramel.
Lisa's saying salted caramel. So that way when you go there, you're like, I know, I'm going to try out what they're basically saying.
They like it
And
too.
like I said, I've had all of their flavors and I'm just like very particular with the strawberry ice cream. What about Matt's place? Full steam espresso.
Espresso.
What do you like to go ahead and kind of order there?
Yeah, so I'm not a coffee person personally. I
No.
love the smell of it. I have tea.
Yeah.
I'm a tea person. So, but I love the smell when they make that coffee in there. The smell just is wonderful. I love the smell of coffee. I just can't drink it.
He's like making his own coffee,
Oh, I
or
know.
he's making it from scratch. He's
Yep.
like, what did he say? He was saying like it's like live coffee or something. Like it eludes me what he said. But yeah, he's literally making his own coffee, brewing his own coffee for
Exactly.
people to go ahead and test out. So you're a tea person.
I'm a tea person, so I try their teas. They have some good green tea drinks. I'm not a green tea can be tricky sometimes the way it tastes, but actually it's been very good the way they make it. They throw some vanilla in and some almond milk, and they just whip it up, and you can have it hot or cold. So I do that, but my standby there is Earl Grey Tea. I do a London Fog. Is my
Okay.
favorite.
Nice. I don't. I'm a Red Bull. I'm a
Yes,
Red
I
Bull
see that.
person.
I see that.
I go and get some Red Bulls to kind of keep me like up and at it. But I usually like. I have a friend. His name is Miro, and he's the one that always orders for me, and I'm like, whatever you're getting, I'll get. He's usually getting this like it's like a cold brew iced mocha or something
Okay,
like that.
yes.
Something like that. And they have all these like, fancy names. I'm like, just give me something that tastes good, that'll like wake me up, That should be kind of like something on the menu. Just give me something good,
Exactly. You can't miss there with whatever you.
Yeah,
you
he's
like.
got a whole bunch of stuff. Something that did pops into my mind is you guys had like a famous influencer come
did.
down.
We did.
Her name is Raina is Crazy.
Raina
right?
is Crazy.
Raina is Crazy, and I showed up to this. I was like, I gotta see this for myself. And I don't know if a lot of people missed this, but this was so interesting because it's like she's like a small girl, right? And then she's got a YouTube channel, and she eats mountains of food.
She does.
And you guys like invited her, and you're like, "Come on down." That was so cool. Come on down, and then Matt. I'm assuming, Matt. Matt's team made like a mountain of crepes.
That's right.
And she was just going at it like crazy. But unfortunately, she was not able to beat
She
that
was not.
mountain. It was I was like, I can't believe she even got that far into it. But it was like, like a giant table size.
Right.
It was a mini table that she was basically trying to eat itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then she also jumped off the bridge afterwards as well too. So it was like crazy. It's like eat a whole bunch of food and so forth. How did that come about? How did you find her, or did she reach out to you?
Yeah, her representative reached out to us because she was traveling into Idaho and then down into Utah, and I think they were trying to find unique places, and they found us on the internet, Googling us, and they realized we were food hall, and so it actually turned into something larger. I suggested that they make 2 days here, and I worked with Melissa over at Southern Idaho Tourism.
Yeah.
So that we teamed up on this. It made a little bit more sense because I wanted this person to not only promote Twin Falls and the food hall, but here she is, and she has an opportunity now to shoot some video to promote tourism. And
Yeah.
Melissa can use that
Yeah.
video as well. So we turned it into really a 2-day event for her. She spent the morning eating the crepes, and then she came back in the evening And she went to each of our vendors and did a small little piece there. So we were able to turn each of those into small videos.
Highlighting each of the
business.
vendors. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we had each of the vendors, and then she compiled it into just a general Second South Market visit. And so she showed all the different places, and then she went teach. So it was really quite fun. And then I kind of turned her over to tourism, and off she went to the bridge.
So after jumping off the bridge, and she went to some different places, the falls and Ritter Island or something, and just kind of like just highlighting Southern Idaho itself. Do you guys have any kind of other things that are going to be potentially in the future like that or so forth? You got anything exciting that's you're like, people need to know about this?
Not yet. It's the end of the year.
It is kind of like the end of the year. Like maybe once spring gets around here, we're back in summer. Because like in winter, things just kind of like everybody almost kind of like wants to be a bear. Like hibernate. It's like we're in hibernation status. What are you trying to do here, Ernell?
Right. And remember, we only opened in January, so we're just finished. We're just nearing our full first year. So we've learned a lot. We have some ideas of what we want to do. I think we're going to have a lot more music outside this summer. We had bands, kind of like maybe every other Saturday, some Fridays. I think you'll find as we get into the spring and we open this outdoor area of the yard, and we're going to get a lot more music going on Fridays and Saturdays almost consistently throughout the summer this year.
Gotcha. When you say you've learned a lot, what would you say is like, what are the top things that pop into your mind that you're like, this is like a lesson that I learned with opening up Second South Market?
Well, we were really on our own. We couldn't really consult with anybody because there was nobody here that did it. The city was kind of talking to us, and they're like, "You want to do what? You want to have how many what?" And we, same with the health department. They had no idea what we wanted to do, and so we had to work with them on, a lot of the places that we visited had a lot of ceilings over their vendor spaces. We just did not want that because we wanted to see those ceilings. So it was a really learning experience of how to work with entities in the city and at the state level to do something unique because they didn't really know what to do. So that was a learning experience. I think, learning how to work with a lot of different vendors. You've got a lot of different people. You've got different personalities. I think another issue is learning where our revenue stream's coming from versus costs. We really didn't understand, of course, because no one had done it and we hadn't done it. What are our costs? What are our, how much do you think we need for trash? And how much do you think we need for electricity? And all of those have been pretty much blown out of the water. They're just way over what we even anticipated.
We thought it was going to be this, but it's actually
really
this. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Exactly. And so that's been a huge learning experience. And just introducing it to the community's been kind of a learning experience too. And of course, we announced our project at the end of February, and they shut down the country 2 weeks later.
Oh, yeah. It's like you guys, the crazy part is like you guys are like starting this whole venture in COVID. It's like where everybody's like shutting things down. We're like stopping. And you guys even had like a soft open and then like a actual full open is how I recall it.
Well, yes, that was...
You guys like, what's crazy is like, even though you guys did it through COVID, you guys basically like plowed through it and we're still successful throughout the whole process, which is like amazing.
We had to. I remember when this happened, we looked at each other and we said, what has happened? I mean,
what
you
happened
can't
to the
anticipate
world?
this kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's
it's
never
like-
happened in the history of the globe. And here we are.
Since our lifetime, I guess. It's like the world was this way, and then bam, it was like this, and so basically you guys were like throwing all these other challenges with COVID itself. So. What was your, I guess, mindset when all this COVID stuff was happening? Were you worried about Second South Market, or like, well, we were putting in a lot of money in this. This is like this was already a risk. Now we have COVID. Now it's actually even amped it up even more because it's like
Correct.
it's like somebody put up a wall. It's like, hey, you already have a wall, but how about this wall? You know?
Right. Here's a nice brick wall. Good luck.
Yeah.
It was scary, no question. And once we calmed down and thought about it, Dave's he has his vision and he's going to see it through. And of course, we remember at that point we were just beginning demolition. And so what was nice for us is that we didn't need to close down because the
You guys
guys,
were
it was huge. It's almost 14,000 square feet inside.
Yeah.
It was just a big open space. And
Yeah.
so the contractors could work in different corners. They can be doing that over there and they can be doing that over there. And the contractors were thrilled that we weren't closing down because
yeah.
they wanted the work,
Yeah, it's like I
everybody was
need
not
to still
working.
feed my family. Just let's keep this ball rolling. And I'm glad you guys still just kept because you had an option. You could have just basically pulled the plug until things calm down. But at that point, it's like you're already in it. It's like we got to see this through. Is probably what I'm understanding.
It is, and we just said, we will see this through. And our vendors, at least Smoky Bone, was counting on us because he knew he was moving.
Yeah.
He was working on leases, and we had an estimated opening date. Of course, that was pushed. We were supposed to open in the summer, and we didn't open until January. But we just had to see it through, and we hung in there. And actually, we're really glad that we did because considering the costs now for contracting costs, and
Everything has gone through the roof now. So you guys got in there like perfect time before like the spike of everything.
Exactly.
Like wood, like getting a piece of wood is so expensive these days. It's like, what did these trees just become like so valuable? Like, when did this happen? Like, here's me. I was like building something and I was like, I need to get some wood. And instead of going to like the hardware store, I went to a thrift store to buy like wood. I was like, this is crazy. And it still worked out, but yeah, everything just shot through the roof. Everything is just going through the roof now, even housing and things like that.
I mean,
And-
we even had Dave had the foresight, let's get these redwood tables purchased. And, the money was just streaming out, but we knew that our revenue wasn't going to be coming in for a much longer time. So
Yeah.
we were able to work with the Small Business Development Center, SB Region 4 Development, to give us a bridge loan. They've been fantastic to work with. And, you go to a bank and we were talking what we wanted to do and they looked at us. They said, really?
Yeah, banks are really hard to convince on new venture ideas unless you have some kind of like collateral that they basically take or some kind of assets. Like you're like, well, we'll give you a loan, but you gotta put up your house or something like that. It's like, oh my God, you crazy, know. But that's very interesting. So if you had to do it all over again, would you? I'm assuming yes, right?
We would, and we have had some folks talk to us about, would you? There was interest in building one in a different community in just north of us around the state, but they said, would you be interested in helping develop one in our community? And we said, you know what? No, we've done this.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to retire, and then Dave came up with this idea, and so we've really have been pleased with how it's all turned out. Everything seems to be going well. We anticipate that we'll have some vendor turnover, and that's not a bad thing. In fact, that's kind of common in food halls. But
Yeah.
they either grow and they decide to get their own brick and mortar, which is what we'd like to do. These are small businesses.
Yeah, it's kind of like
If
almost
we-
kind of like a testing ground to go ahead and make sure that the business is gonna be like can grow and so forth.
Right, they don't have to put in that big expense for their own brick and mortar. They can test it out here. They can get to the point maybe where they get larger and they want to move out and grow their own business somewhere else, and we can bring somebody else in.
Oh yeah,
And
so the food hall is constantly going to be changing with well, not all the time, but I guess there is that option
Vendors
of
might come and go,
yeah.
and that's okay.
yeah. That's I like that. Then they're like, oh, okay, like I
Different
get to
concept. So the Mexican food is gone. So now we have a Japanese Chinese concept.
okay.
So that's in there now, and we'll see how everybody goes. And
Yeah, there's always different foods to kind of try out and so forth. And you guys do have like a bar there as well,
we
too.
do the tap house.
The tap house. I was gonna say, like, what's your favorite drink? You know.
Well, we like wine. Dave likes to. They have a lot of really interesting beers
Yeah.
that change up, and so beer drinkers enjoy there more actually than the wine drinkers, just because they're have the opportunities to get.
I didn't know they had wine there too.
They
huh?
do a beer and wine,
Okay.
and they have some good margarita drinks and things that that are a little more kind of fluffy-ish, and so people enjoy those. But it's people really enjoy the beer because it changes.
Yeah.
And they can get things that they haven't tried before or get some of their standby. So,
Gotcha.
and what's nice about that too is they have that kind of garage door that can pull up in the summer, so that people who are outside they can
Oh,
walk
so
straight
they're
up.
straight from the outside. You're like, hey, give
You
me a
don't have-
beer. You know, it's
Yeah,
kind of like being at a pool, you know, and they have those.
You don't swim up; you walk up.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we need to get a pool over there. That way you have like a pool
No,
party.
thank you.
Yeah, you're
No,
like,
thank you.
no,
Not a good idea.
no pool parties
No,
here.
no.
It could be kind of like Vegas, you know.
Yeah,
Maybe that's food hall. No, maybe that's a potential food hall
There
in the
you go.
future or so
Could
forth.
be.
You know,
could be.
food hall and slash pool outside.
Wow.
Crazy idea. And then what about the pizza place, right?
Lucy's
Lucy's.
New York Pizza.
What kind of pizza you like to try there? Do they sell by the slices?
They
or
do.
They sell them, but you can get a slice.
Takeout and inside eating.
Oh, okay. And when COVID hit, did these businesses then go to some kind of like curbside? Because I know a lot of businesses went to like a curbside pickup, so everybody had to like figure out technology, like how do I make ordering online possible, so that way, because I know some places like the Smoky Bones, you can order online and go pick it up.
Right, and you can. Lucy's Pizza has a great delivery option, and so that was we didn't get into that curbside thing. It was very complicated the way our parking was. I mean, people were welcome to order and come in and pick up, which they did, but we didn't do the curbside. It was just
Complicated.
It
It's
was.
like, how do I,
Yeah.
like how do I make this actually work or so
Right.
forth? Yeah, this whole COVID thing is like behind us in my mind, but we're still kind of in it. It's like we're always in it. We're never trying to. It's like let us be out,
But they do have some wonderful pizzas, and a lot of people haven't tried their dessert pizzas. In
A
fact,
dessert pizza.
I was not, when they first opened, I saw people eating something, and I actually went and asked them. I said, "What is that?"
What is that?
So we went and ordered, and it was just outstanding. So they have a fabulous dessert pizza.
They have a dessert pizza. Oh,
They
drop whatever you're doing. Like, go try out this dessert pizza. That does sound very delicious, actually. I think Gertie's. I don't know if Gertie's is still around, or I think they shut down
did.
after. But they had the dessert pizzas, and I loved that. I was like, "Whew, this is so delicious."
You've got to try these at Lucy's.
Okay,
they
all right.
they
Now you've
start
given me something to try out. I'm like, I'm gonna go get. I'll go get my top 3 favorite things. I'll get some brisket, get some dessert pizza, and get some ice cream. Like strawberry ice cream. It's like, what? It's like somebody's listening to this and they're like, maybe
I think I need to go visit.
I think I need to go visit and try this out. And if you're like, oh, if I don't have enough energy, boom, hit up Matt's place, and then
That's right. Get a
you
Red
literally have like a whole ecosystem there running by itself, essentially.
Yeah, and it's great for families because, it's so fun to come in and see, dad's got barbecue, mom's trying the sushi, and the kids are eating pizza, and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And so everybody can get what they want. It's a casual environment. You can move your chairs around. When we first opened, we were at a third of our seating because of COVID. And we wanted everybody to feel comfortable, so there was a lot of open space.
Spreading.
So then over time, we were gradually adding to our, maximum seating where we are now. But outside is people can move their tables, you can move chairs. It's very flexible seating, which is kind of nice for folks. So when we get big groups and small groups, and some people want to, after Sunday, we have a lot of families that come in and they can put a bunch of tables together and there's 20 or 30 people all lined up having lunch. It
Yeah.
really is nice.
Yeah, I would say what would you say is like the how am I trying to say this is like what would be like the biggest, like like was well first it was like what was the biggest lesson from all of this, like what did you like and what I really want to say is like is that do you get some kind of like value of seeing everybody so happy that you guys have
Question.
this and then just because again it just used to be a building and then it's like now it's like a whole different thing essentially.
We had so much fun when we first opened because there were so many people
There are so many people just like
no idea what a food hall was. They're like, "What's a food hall?" And they didn't experience. So Dave and I, we were there almost all the time, working the front, welcoming people, kind of explaining things, showing them our history wall, and explaining how it all works. And now it's fun because we're there working, and we'll hear people come in and they'll bring friends and they'll say, "Okay, this is how it works. You do this, and then you take your tray and you put it over here." And they've been here before, and everybody's looking. So it's fun and it's wonderful to see and to get comments from the customers that as we're cleaning tables. Thanks for keeping it so clean, and we love.
Yeah,
this
you guys
place.
always, it looks so nice and clean all the time. And what surprised me, you were working there too. So it's like you and your husband are like the owner of the building, and you guys are like, you're in there, like you're working your butt off as well too.
Yep.
I thought you guys would just be like, okay, here you go, we're out of here. But no, you guys are like doing something that I don't really see really like other owners gonna do. It's like being in there, and then you guys are trying to do whatever you can for these businesses as well too.
Exactly. And it was important to us. I think we didn't realize we were going to be there as much as we still are. I mean, every day.
Yeah.
Dave is there and I'm there. We switch hours, and we've had trouble getting people to work some of those slack hours in the afternoon while the kids are in school.
Yeah.
We have kids that work at night, and they're good staff, but getting that day done has been very hard. So we team tag it, and he works half day and I work half day, but we're there almost every day. He is for sure.
Yeah, because I thought that's what you guys would be just like.
That's what we thought too.
That's what you guys thought too.
No, we knew we were going to be busy and working, but we just didn't realize that it's going to be really every day. And here we are a year in, and we're still
at it.
I was mopping floors yesterday.
Yeah, I saw this and I was like, what? Because most people would just take a step back, but you guys are still involved in it. And I also saw that you guys got nominated for something. I got like an email. What did you guys get nominated for?
So this was just actually last night. It was the ceremony was last night. It was Grow Smart Idaho. They recognized businesses in Idaho that help communities, and they use Grow Smart principles. They have different principles about lighting and heating and building a friendly place in a community. And so we are awarded an award for that last night. There were two of us, and there's only been two awards given in Twin Falls since they started in 2015. So
oh wow! And you guys got nominated.
We nominated, and then we were recognized just last night with an award for that. So that was nice, and we've had some good recognition in the paper and in the TV and so forth. And but we get a tremendous amount of pleasure of seeing customers enjoying things, and kids with moms and dads and couples, and the whole gambit of folks. And when people come up to us and thank us, it makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, it's like wow, all right, now I see why I'm here.
It.
It's totally worth it.
It is.
For people that are like have an idea and they're entrepreneurs, right? Because you and your husband kind of like, especially as I said, your husband is like entrepreneur. Like, what would you say to potential viewers that are like entrepreneurs and they have an idea of trying to do something in Twin Falls or so forth? Like, would you have any kind of advice for them to kind of like, hey, well, this kind of worked out for us. Maybe it'll work, so forth. What would you say to a potential entrepreneur about starting a business in Twin Falls or so forth?
Well, it's a great place to have a business, obviously. And I think if Dave has that vision he has that vision, and nothing's going to keep him away from doing that. He'll run into obstacles, but he'll figure it out. And there have been, instances where he hasn't succeeded as well as he had thought in some of his prior businesses. But in this one, he just was determined. And I think for an entrepreneur, you have to just, even with the COVID thing, you have to just say, we have to carry on. We have to continue with our vision. If you know you have the financing and you can at least get through, and then you have some other sources, like Region 4, where you can turn to help fill in some of those gaps. But, financing is a big issue for any entrepreneur.
Yeah, so a lot of people like see like, oh, this is going to cost this much and so forth. And it's like a brick wall for a lot of them.
It is.
And then it just kills their idea. There's probably a lot of ideas floating around and they just haven't been executed to, that vision itself. So would you say there's anything else that they should? How would they how would they pass the barrier of the paywall? I guess like needing to go and get these finances. Like, should they start saving up money and trying to find money elsewhere with organizations or this and that?
Yes, saving money. We've had investments over the years, and so that really some of those investments helped pay for this. We had some property that we sold.
Yeah.
We had some savings. And so we were able to, we're 60. And so we've had years of building up. We were very good about saving, investing. We didn't buy a lot of toys. We didn't buy boats. We didn't buy skis. And not skis, but we do ski.
Yeah.
But, we didn't buy a lot of toys. And, we sent our girls through college, but we were really good about our finances. And I think, over the years that builds up. This just didn't happen. We're 60, and so we started this in our 20s, and we got married. And so, all these years later, that starts to pay off. And so then when you need that money for whatever it is, at first it was the house, and then we built again and started, we both have been working, and so we've been saving and investing. And Dave's a good investor, and his mom, who just recently passed, she was a great investor.
Yeah.
So I think all of that, but you have to have obviously that financing, and then you have to have sources like Region 4 that you can turn to, who are understanding about entrepreneurs and helping small businesses. So they're a real go-to place for us, and we had worked with them in the past on some of our other businesses.
Gotcha.
So they knew us. They knew that even though this sounded a little crazy, they had confidence that we were going to make this work. And so they were willing to take that risk, and now it's beneficial for everybody. So.
Yeah. I think it's definitely an asset to the community itself. So it really kind of comes down to is save some money, stop spending it on, oh, I really need this. I'm like, do you really need that? Do you just save it? And then if you really truly believe in your idea or whatever it might be, then, just save and then slowly. It's not, a lot of people think it's like an overnight thing too.
No, that's what I was trying to, we're 60, so we've
you've basically saved, and then it's like, boom, now it's kind of coming to fruition and exactly kind of what you kind of wanted to go ahead and do or with the idea and so forth. So it's basically kind of save, and then go for it from there.
And have a vision and, consult with other people in the community that have been there. We've encouraged people to talk to Dave about, one of the things too is our building, is in an opportunity zone.
Yeah.
And that was huge for us from a tax standpoint. And so a lot of people, and again, nobody had built a business in Twin Falls, and I guess ours was the second or third investment in the opportunity zone, but our accountant had no idea what it was. And so he did all the research, and so he's all up to speed on it, and our attorney figured out everything he needed to do to figure out, so that now we have people in place in Twin Falls from a legal perspective and a tax perspective that are all up on opportunity zones, because Dave and Lisa had to go to them and say, figure this out, help us out, do your research.
There's a lot of research that goes into it, because even any idea, you have to devote so much research and testing and so forth as well too.
But there are people out there who've done this, and like we did, we traveled and went to other food halls.
Yeah, there you go. I do a lot of YouTube research or just digging through the internet on different ideas, because I've come to the realization that it's really hard to find a super original idea. I think I'm I got a brilliant idea, and then I started looking it up on the internet. this guy already did it. And then you can still learn like how this person did something and so forth. There's also like a lot of books about entrepreneurship and things like that. So there's a lot of research.
There is a lot of research, and we found a really good source. Cushman Wakefield puts out a study every year on food halls.
Oh, really?
And I'm not even sure how I found that, but it was a gold mine of
Yeah.
experience. And it was only the second report I think they had put out. And in that report, they don't do it anymore, but thank goodness they did it then. In the very back of the book, they had the food halls listed by state
Yeah.
and how big they were. So I went through there and I highlighted those that were just within our numbers, space-wise. There were some that were, 3 and 4 stories. And,
Yeah, you're like, this too big,
200,000 square feet. No, we're not going to go see those. But
Yeah.
let's go see some of these small ones. So they had a really good, and that also helped us in educating the city and the state about food halls and what they're
Food halls in
like.
general, yeah.
Exactly. So we compiled that into kind of a little research packet so that we could, I see what you're going to do, and I see how this works. And
Gotcha.
so it was very helpful for us. So yeah, it's research, talking to people, visiting people. Like I said, trying to get people to talk to you about stuff was tricky. One guy he spent 3 hours with us and he just downloaded everything.
Oh, really?
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
And then another lady was very, standoffish. So, you don't know who it was, but we weren't competing with them. It was just they were, we're willing to share whatever we've learned. And we told people at different state levels, somebody's looking at doing one in another part of the state. We said, just call us.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
let
come
you-
visit you for a couple of days, tell you what we've done. We know everything about opportunity zones. Just we're happy to share our information we've learned. Let's help somebody else.
Yeah. So I guess what I really wanted to kind of say about this is like, if you have an idea, I think even Matt and I talked about this entrepreneurship a little bit. It's like, if you have an idea, it's like, it's up to you, and it's not going to be an overnight thing. That's basically the bottom
Correct.
line. It's
It
like,
isn't.
even like when I was like doing these vlogs and so forth, it's like, when I first started out, it was kind of like, well, this is probably not going to go nowhere. But the thing is, like, repetition and sticking with something and not letting it go, that's what sets a person that's really determined and so forth apart from other people that might try it out like for like just a little bit here and there, and then they're like, I'm done. A lot of people just call it quits too fast.
Exactly, and I wish Dave were here to address that, because we've had several businesses that he started that some that have been sort of successful and some that haven't, and those were lessons learned.
Yeah.
So over the years, so
Yeah,
it's not an easy road.
Yeah, I've thrown so many ideas at the wall, and it's like, what's sticking?
Right.
It's basically when it kind of comes from that. But is there anything else you want to say about Second South Market? How you guys got a website, obviously. When are you guys open? What's the hours typically?
So the hours, the vendors have different hours, and that's the nature of a food hall. So
Okay.
Full Steam Espresso opens first thing in the morning. They 6 or 7 or 8, depending on the day of
People
the week.
need to get their coffee. They're like,
That's it.
I'm so angry without coffee.
That's it. And then the other vendors will open at 11. Some close earlier. So that's just the nature of the food hall. And even sometimes when it's really slow, sometimes we'll close early, and that's just how it works. But folks can look at our Facebook page. Our website has the most current hours. We have some holiday hours that change, and some might be open, some might not be. So the best place to do is either look at our website or
Website.
Our website or Facebook is.
So you guys got the website, you guys got the Facebook,
And we have an Instagram.
and an Instagram as well.
Correct.
And you guys are always active on that.
Very active.
So
yeah.
it's always like
The most current information's always
yeah,
there.
yeah. It's like if you want, make sure you're following Second South Market on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you get your social media from, pretty much. Yeah, I guess, is there anything else that you feel like we've missed out? I think we got a good conversation here. We talked about everything.
We have.
Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. I think we just love to educate people on food halls and show them our history wall, and we just welcome.
I gotta
folks
go
to
see
come
this
in.
history wall. I'm gonna need to get some B-roll footage of
Please,
it, or
yeah.
or some photos or something like that.
Yeah.
And
We're just really proud of our history, how the building has turned out, and our vendors have been fantastic. And one little cool thing is if they go to the restroom, you look up at the restroom sign. It's made of all the stuff that we found during demolition.
Wow, yeah.
Horseshoes and tools from the 20s. And
I wish everybody was like you and your husband, where they're taking these old buildings that are just sitting dormant, doing nothing for the community, and flip them to something like something cool that everybody can use. And I even know like who's done something like that as well. The Beard Axe people,
Axe.
they've done it as well. So people are
Yes,
doing it.
and
It's possible.
And Float Magic across the street.
Float
from us.
magic, yeah, it's slowly happening. People,
is.
it's slowly happening. And again, this is not an overnight thing. It's a slow thing, and it just takes time, basically.
It does, and we're in the warehouse district, and I know the
Mm-hmm.
city is looking to improve that whole warehouse district.
Yeah,
over the
that
next few
warehouse
years.
district, there's a lot of buildings there. They're just kind of sitting dormant. And slowly but surely, those will go ahead and get reactivated almost, kind of like, because they're just sitting there right now.
They are.
And they're even like doing the whole thing with the children's museum
Exactly.
thing. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things basically moving. The things are constantly moving, like here and there. So Twin Falls as long as we keep, I like this idea. I was like, ooh, you got the food hall. Now you can like have float magic. I don't know if have you done that? Because like
I have.
that's so cool. I was like, it's like you're in this pod and you're like, I did one I didn't do one here. I was gonna do a video about it where. Because not a lot of people even understand or comprehend what's
It's very unique, yeah.
It's very unique. It's like they'll put you in a pod and it's like total pitch black. You can't hear anything and you're just floating. It feels like you're in space is what it is.
It's very strange,
It's-
but it was wonderful, and they have
So
massage
relaxing.
chairs
Yeah.
in there that are wonderful, and she has a lot going on over there, and she's been very successful. Her facility is beautiful. She's done
Maybe
it.
you should introduce me to her, and
I
then
will.
I'll see if I can get
Happy
her
to.
on the podcast. And
She
then
would
I'll-
love it.
Yeah, and then I'll go do the whole experience too. It
You
would
would
be
love it.
awesome.
She's wonderful.
Yeah,
and
'cause
she's
I-
built a beautiful place.
Yeah, and that used to be like
Fastenal.
Fastenal with the little like the little tools and little washers and things
Right,
like that,
yes.
different
Exactly.
and stuff like
she's
that.
turned it into a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah,
building.
it looks. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "We're getting a flotation place too. That's awesome."
Don't
Yeah.
forget her massage chairs. And
She's got massage chairs. See, like I said, I haven't really I've been so busy with all these other projects that I have. Like I've been like my whole world has been like lights for the for the longest. I just been like lights this, lights that, lights this. So I haven't really had time to go try out all of these businesses and so forth. So I definitely want to jump into
You
that.
need to go over and check it out.
Float and then do a float session itself.
Yes.
People need to try that out. It's like at least try it out once to kind of see if you like it or so
Sure.
forth. What I've kind of learned is like I have too many hobbies. I'm like mountain biking. I'm like
That's good.
scuba diving, snorkeling. I've got too many hobbies. Like so, it's like adding something else is like I gotta carve out a little bit time to
Go
do
over
that.
there and get some relaxation from all
Yeah,
that.
I know. That's what I.
Hobbying.
Oh, yeah. That's a great example. Like I need to take a break and
That's
just
it.
float a
There
little
you
bit.
go.
And again, it really feels like you're in space because it's all pitch black. You can't see anything, and then you're just like floating.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting experience. And then when you come out, you're like, "Are we back on Earth?"
It is. It's the only way you
like,
can connect. There's no connection to Earth.
There's
It's
no
really
connection
amazing.
to Earth. Yeah, it's like literally imagine being in space and just floating
Right.
through space.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of figured. It was like, this is how it would feel like if I was like in space and I could breathe and just be floating out in the stars or something like that. Very unique experience. And it's right next to you guys too.
It is.
After they, maybe get some residual customers that they float and they're like, I need to go now take some, get some food or something like that. Or
It
maybe
happens. Yep. And
Yeah.
our folks come over and we go over and we, people walk in and they say, What's float
What's-
magic
what's
all
float
about?"
magic?
And
Then
I
you can kinda-
I can tell them and they go try it out. So yeah, we're good neighbors. I think we work well together. And
You guys not having any billboard wars? I know there was like this whole billboard wars or something
No,
like
we
that. They were
don't
like-
have a billboard. but-
they had all these billboards, like things happening.
fun.
That
That
was
was
fun.
cute.
It was like they were like, "Oh yeah," like it was funny. It was like a good marketing
was.
strategy. I
It
was like,
was.
brilliant. So, and again, so once everybody's back at a hibernation, what are you excited about? Like, like as soon as spring is here, you want everybody to just come back, start eat as much as you can at the food hall.
Yeah, and I think when spring is here, I think we're going to see a lot more activity this time in the yard.
Yeah, the
outside.
yard.
We
With
didn't-
music and who do you have? Do you have like who do you have coming played there typically?
We love Heath Clark.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get him back. We have Ellie Mae. We tried to get her last year, but she was on The Voice, and she's fabulous. She's a local gal.
What?
Ellie Mae. Yeah,
Ellie Mae, and she's like.
We already have her booked for this summer.
So
because
you're gonna be like, you guys are gonna be like sitting and listening to some really good music.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we'll have, like I said, I think we're going to have much more music this year than we've had last year. We'll have Fridays and Saturdays. We're going to.
And how many people can typically go outside, sit?
I think there's, we can get 400 people back there.
That's a lot.
400, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
and
lot
so
of
we've
people.
we've encouraged people to, when Heath Clark played last year, he played twice. And we knew he was going to bring huge crowds. We encourage people, and we're going to do that this year, to bring their own chairs. We're going to we move some of the
Bring your own
redwood
lawn
tables.
chair.
Yeah,
like-
just bring your own beach chair and just sit. There's places. So
Yeah,
we
get
don't
some. You
have-
can get some beer. I mean, like you guys are like this is a party place, like it's kind of like enjoy some music and so forth.
And there's fire pits.
fire pits, yeah.
They can, and it's dog friendly. We don't obviously like to have them there when there's music, but
Yeah, that probably like would scare them. It's like when there's too
does.
much action.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of get freaked out. Like, what's going on here?
people bring their dogs.
Yeah,
during
you
the summer
can.
for lunch and dinner, and we have dog treats and dog bowls, and
No.
so we're ready for them.
Yeah,
and,
I wish more places were like super dog friendly because I have a dog.
we love dogs. I know you do.
Yeah,
that
that's-
big
yeah.
white dog.
And that's kind of like how we met essentially is through our dogs, I guess.
think we
yeah,
did.
like you guys had that
Tess.
Tess. You
She
still
was
have
Twin Falls Tess.
Twin Falls Tess.
She's,
Yeah.
She's now going to be, probably this year we're going to kick her off. She's going to be Second South Tess.
Second South Tess. Yeah, and then they have that whole pooch splash. I think you were
Yes.
there too.
Right.
I see you in a lot of these venues.
Because we're dog lovers.
We're dog lovers, and we're
So-
just kind of like we're in the same kind of like circles. It
Right.
seems like. Well, I think this is good. I don't really have anything else that I really wanted to ask you. I think I've covered everything. We got
have.
your neighbors, the whole history of it, what's there, what to order. Man, we covered like this is a gold mine here, people.
Been fun.
Yeah, we got a lot of good info. All right, Lisa. Well, I think I'm going to call it good here. I think we've hit about like an hour. This is an hour-long video. So yeah, and the thing is like I don't edit anything here. I just cut back and forth of you and me talking, and that's the
Beautiful.
video.
Beautiful. It's been fun.
All right, yeah. Well, see you guys on the next podcast.
Thank
Boom.
you.
And that's it. We got it.